Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling, and this is the Raging Verbalist number 193. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. Raging Verbalist is a topic that, well, it just can't wait. I've got to talk about it, got to share it with everybody. We don't veer off too much into politics and all of that. And, you know, you can catch us on YouTube and also our Facebook channel, which is on the Position to Win book group, Position to Win book group. And go check us out there. As always, is the ever lovely Sandra, who fills in for all of you. She asks me the questions that maybe would be on your mind, maybe not, but if you're gonna, and always subscribe, like, all those other things. You want to get annoyed, do the notification. So anyway, Sandra, come on in, and Sandra is dressed for the occasion, by the way.
I should have done like rhinestones or something.
Oh well,
missed opportunity. This is good too.
Good.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Good.
You're looking good. You're feeling
Thank
good.
You. Good. Yes.
So, all right. So, what's our topic today?
So we are talking about Las Vegas. So I understand that you had to drive through a tropical storm in the desert to get to Las Vegas this time.
Yeah, I have driven to Vegas hundreds of times. I don't think it's 1,000, but hundreds of times in my life. I've driven through forest fires. I've driven through, blazing hot, crazy, 121 degrees kind of thing. I've driven through all kinds of conditions. And yes, this time it was Tropical Storm Hillary. And it was great because as we were driving up, there were signs that said, do not drive unless you absolutely have to. I think having a non-cancelable reservation at a Vegas resort qualifies for that. So that would be why we had to go do it. Normally it takes about 4 hours for, even the little stops here and there. Took us 6 hours, and we had to do a little diversion around. And we ended up going through some, in Barstow, California, we ended up going through a little Breaking Bad territory. So if you ever need to find a way to get something done a little bit different, I can hook you guys up. So we're good. But yeah, I had to drive through a tropical storm. And of course, people said, are you nuts? Well, I've never driven through a tropical storm, wind, rain. And the best part is, of course, seeing 6 major accidents. My favorite was a little SUV flipped over, and here's this guy standing on it, and he's standing there, rain, all that stuff. He's looking for an anchor point because he's the tow truck driver who's got to flip the car over. So crazy stuff. But yes, made it to Vegas, and there you go. That's how the trip started. So it started off eventful.
And what was the last time that you were in Las Vegas for any length of time?
Well, the last time we were in Vegas for a week, because we do like a week or 2 weeks in a block, not for like a business, like just a little, quick trip or something, was January of 2020, and it was Chinese New Year. Now, it's not that we don't celebrate Chinese New Year, but we just happened to be there, coincided with when we were there. So we went over to the Bellagio, and the Bellagio had an incredible layout and display for Chinese New Year. I mean, it was amazing. And frankly, there were all these people who were there from China. And we were lucky, my wife and I, that neither of us got COVID, because COVID was already hot and bothered in China. And we went there because I was going to be promoting my book, which of course we'll be talking about in just a little bit, but most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes book, and launching my very first book in March. So I said, hey, let's go get a week at R&R and let's go to Vegas. And so I was there then, and all I can say is I came away a winner because I didn't end up getting COVID. And clearly some of those people probably ended up or having it or got it or whatever, but that was the last time I went.
And what changes did you see?
Well, one night we decided we were going to see about going to and it is a chain. So just everybody knows. So there's a Bubba Gump restaurant, and yes, it's based upon, a movie, right? So, Tom Hanks and all of that kind of cool stuff. And, so Bubba Gumps is there. And I call him up and I said, look, I'd like to make a reservation. How do we get there? How do we do this? And it's one of these things that, probably when they set it up, which was on a different time scale or a different world, it was just fine how they set it up. But to get there today is really hard to do. And I said, okay, so talk to me about it. So we decided, okay, we're going to just buy some food, bring it back to the room and eat there. And that turned into a real crazy situation because first off, there is no way to get to it from a parking facility. You actually have to go through the Million Mile Mall and you have to do all of that. And then, but you have to exit, you have to go out onto the street, and then you have to go up an escalator, which by the way, both escalators were broken, the up and the down. And so that's not a lot of fun. And then I get inside of Forrest Gump is the movie, Bubba Gump is the restaurant. I get inside and I said, okay, I want to order. And they said, well, you got to go upstairs. So a flight and a half of stairs later, 2 bad knees. And I get there and I say, hey, I want to order to go. I said, well, go to the bar. The bartender does that. So I went through and I said, by the way, I've already got it figured out. I'm ready to go. Turns out that one of my favorite things that I had been eating for years at these places, because I would go to Bubba Gump's and, you name it, I've been there, in Hawaii and all this other stuff. Well, they don't serve that anymore. Great. So put it all together, wait and wait and wait. And so what I would describe those changes is that service was kind of relaxed, a little lackadaisical, not driven, not motivated, and away you go. So that was my deal. And then, of course, I had to race back, and there you go. Now, would I go back? It's just too much hassle, and it's just, I don't understand why they built it the way they did it. And the woman said, yeah, it probably cost us a lot of business. Oh, and by the way, here was the other part, and this is the Landry's food chain deal, is that I actually have a Landry's card. And like every other one of these loyalty programs, I said, they go, well, do you have the card with you? If I carried every loyalty card I ever signed up for, how big a pocket do I need? And they couldn't look it up. They said, well, we really can't look it up. Not really. And they tried a couple feeble times, so they couldn't look it up. So, they told me a very Byzantine process to go do it. All I can say is, Landry's, get your act together. If the guys at Yogurtland can figure out how to solve this problem, damn it, you should solve it too. So it wasn't what I expected, especially as expensive as it was.
And how would you describe your impressions of Las Vegas?
The thing I always loved about Las Vegas, from being there in the 70s all the way through now, which I mean we're coming up on almost 50 freaking years, is that Vegas always had a certain functionality to it. It wasn't this piece of crumbling crap. Well, we got crumbling crap. I said, how long? Because I'm sitting there with Bubba Gumps. I said to the manager, how long have the escalators been out? She goes, well, we have nothing to do with the escalators. That's the first thing I want to say to you. We have nothing to do with the escalators, like as if I'm going to sue them or something. She goes, oh, that is the city, and they have been out for weeks. And I went, this is nuts. So to me, the level of dysfunctionality was significantly higher, and nowhere near where. And I understand. Hey, we went through COVID, went through that. I had a condo there when the Great Recession hit. I have seen Vegas on its knees, but this was nuts because it was just totally dysfunctional, and maybe not totally. It was significantly more dysfunctional. In fact, so dysfunctional that I even tweeted that I said, geez, I've never seen this kind of dysfunctionality since Newark Airport. Now, if anybody out there is a big fan of Newark Airport, put it down in the comments below. But I have been through Newark a lot, and that is one freaking dysfunctional airport. And as I've started to say to people in Vegas, if you go to a third world country run by a despotic dictator, the airports are always in great shape and the rest of the place looks like crap. Well, Vegas used to always be this place that worked. Lots of things didn't work. And by the way, that gets to the point of what we're going to talk about now, which is lots of businesses start out and people are working hard and they're trying to figure out how to make things work and how to go about building a business and doing things right. And they miss it. They miss the mark. And why? Because, well, first off, most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it's positioned to win. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely believe that the things that are going on in Vegas are long-term losers, because what happens is that people get upset and they tell other people. I'm telling other people, I like Vegas. What I don't like is I don't like to see what's going on. I don't want to see deterioration. I don't want to see this. You know, if somebody says, well, but it was never real, great. Make it non-real, but make it something I can experience that way. So go out and buy that on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, if you want the physical copy. Also, you can go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com, if you want to have me autograph and send you a physical copy. And it's available in every electronic format, at least 3 of the big ones, which is Kindle, Nook, and Apple iBooks. On the other side, you can go check out Remote Work for a Better World. So if you are in fact out there and you're working remote and you're not doing it as well as you could, go check that out and you'll get, now that's only available on the Kindle store or Amazon Kindle exclusively, but you will get some insights that will help you work remotely. Final thing is that what does the Raging Verbalist do when he wants to deal with a little bit of rage? Well, and for all of you who don't know, I only drink decaf. This is me on decaf, but I always use my Raging Verbalist mug. So, ooh, that's smooth. Okay, Sandra, what is up next?
All right, so I know when you were there, you went to your favorite brunch place, so and which is where you interviewed me. So,
well, and of course it was to interview Sandra is like I thought this is definitely a Midwestern kind of thing, because eventually I ended up having to meet her family and, go through all of this. I mean, I've hired lots of people. I've never had to go through this whole go there and sit there and meet the mom and the aunt and all anyway. But yeah, we went.
They were there. You might as well say hi.
Might as well, exactly. Have them get the look of this thing. So we went to Hash House A Go-Go, which I really like. That it's a chain, and we actually went out to the one way out on West Sahara, and the interesting thing is that this place used to open early and close late. In fact, when I had an office in Vegas for a few years, I would go there for dinner. I mean, I'm a eat breakfast for dinner kind of guy. And nope, they close at 2 p.m. Staff shortages, all of those things. So that was kind of cool. My shout out to Hash House A Go-Go is go. I mean, it's a really great place. By the way, go hungry or take a lot of stuff home with you. The bacon waffles are amazing. They make pancakes that are the size of, like a big giant pizza kind of thing. So don't order more than one of those. Sadly, though, is that one of my favorite drinks is their tangerine juice, and that is now gone, kaputski, off the menu. And that's because they can't get a supplier who can do it cost effectively, a victim of COVID. The whole place had a little bit different vibe and feel. But I went there, really liked it. That was kind of a little nice, a little bright spot and a little nostalgia, a little something good. So that was good.
And what were some highlights of your time there?
Well, we got off the Strip. We ended up going out to Red Rock Casino. We went out to Suncoast, and both of those properties were cool. Nice to see that there's some of that still there, and those were some positives. Also, I was able to get some writing in, more about that in a little bit, and it was kind of neat. I mean, So Suncoast has a bowling alley, and this place is huge bowling alley, and it was great. I haven't bowled in years. No, I didn't bowl. But what I did was, great for watching people and great for doing that. So that was a highlight and a real positive thing. And there are some things that I would say are still quintessential Vegas to make it worthwhile, but you got to go out and you have to find them and look and dig and go out and do that. We also went to a burger place and Black Tap, and that's in Venetian. Now, if you go there, just understand that you're going to spend a lot of money, like $100, no drinks, by the way, no alcohol, to get a couple of burgers. But their burgers were absolutely fantastic, and so that was a highlight. That was a good thing, and so it was good to see some of that is still there. But other things not so good. But those are some of the highlights. And and if you've never been to Hash House a Go-Go, never been to Black Tap, go check those out. And good stuff.
And now, how about some of the lowlights?
Well, yeah, and when we were putting this together, Sandra said, "Look, you can't just rain crap on these guys. You got to say something else." And there was some good stuff. Here's the thing though about going to the Venetian is that to go to the burger joint, it cost me $35 to park for 2 hours to get a burger. Parking has gone insane. Now you may say, but John, you could get parking further out. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not in that point in time in my life that I want to go hiking a couple of miles for parking. And none of the self parking is free anymore. I mean, at least on the strip. That's why when we went off strip, they had self parking was free, and that was very cool. So expensive parking everywhere. On the strip, at the hotel. So I'm staying at the resort, and we're there, and the resort was fine, and I valet parked the car because they showed me a map. It's one of those you are here, map is not to scale. Here's where self parking is, and good luck. And when I did that, I did not realize, because I always would say, well, put that on the room. Well, the second day they wouldn't give me the car. The type they held it hostage until I paid for all of the parking from beginning to end right there, because it turns out that they sold off the parking concession to somebody else. I mean, it's kind of kooky crazy. Bad weather. I mean, we had 2 rainstorms, and nothing like driving down the strip with 6 to 10 inches of water in it. People in Las Vegas do not understand that isn't a broken sprinkler head. It is moisture coming from the sky. And that was kind of kooky. And then we were coming back from Red Rock, and it was just nuts because the amount of rain that was coming down, and but people were like just massive spray. I guess they thought they were in a car commercial or something. So we went through that. Probably one of the saddest things, of course, is that Caesar's Palace. Always loved Caesar's Palace. In fact, I lost my favorite Caesar's Palace hat in Dallas. So if anybody out there has my hat, get it back to me, okay? Probably never gonna see it again, because I left it at a restaurant, and then Gabe, my business partner, went back, and they said, well, nobody turned it in because they stole it. It was a really cool hat. But what was the saddest part is that Caesar's Palace, the lights that light up and say Caesar's Palace, and we have photographic evidence, were out. I've never seen the lights out. I mean, I can't imagine in the 70s that somebody wouldn't have gotten a beating for not keeping the lights on. Traffic, of course, was crazy and terrible on the strip. It's always been that way, but it's kind of worse. And then there's lots of construction going on, and streets are closed because, well, they're in the process of scheduling an event, and they're redoing a lot of things. So those are the lowlights. I mean, we could go on, but you get the point. It's Vegas. You got to get your act together, because you can't afford to lose people, as far as I can see.
And so I know that there's lots of negatives, but now share some of the good changes and positives.
Well, I would say probably one of the most interesting things is that they have this new sphere, And in fact, I had seen the construction of the sphere start to take off, and it's down by the Venetian. And I don't know, what they spent, $1 billion, Sandra, on this thing, some crazy amount of money.
I am actually not sure.
They spent a lot of money, but the whole outside of this big giant sphere is a screen. So literally, it changes and it does all kinds of cool things. Now, Sandra wanted me to go get a picture at night. The problem is that traffic is so crazy that, I mean, I just wasn't going to sacrifice an hour of my life to go get a shot, but it was just, so that's pretty cool. Sphere is pretty cool. By the way, at the Black Tap, they had a thing called a crazy shake. Now, if you're going to go, first off, if you're a diabetic, don't even think about touching this thing. Now, we ended up sharing a crazy shake. We got the Oreos and cream, and nuts. I mean, it's an expensive $17 shake or something like that, but I can tell you it was crazy good. And then the other thing that I found out, which is why the construction is going on, is right by right by where we were staying, which was at the Polo Towers. They're building all of the buildings and the luxury boxes for the Formula One race that's going to be there in November. That would be like one of the cool things that I would love to go do. But when I saw the pricing for tickets, I go, well, maybe next year or something. But literally, they were working from, they talk about kind of a kooky thing. They were working from 4:30 in the morning on, trying to beat the heat and doing that. And they were working on a Sunday. Now, Saturday and Sunday construction workers, I have no idea how much triple, quadruple overtime people get paid to do that. But they're building a Formula One race course out of the streets of Las Vegas. So that'll be interesting to see how that thing lays out. And if you don't know what Formula One racing is, it's the pinnacle of automobile racing. It's a global thing, and they go all over the world. And they finally discovered that they might actually start putting races in the U.S., and Las Vegas is going to be one of them. And then finally, a cool thing is I got to actually work on my new book that I've been working on in secret. I don't have a release date yet because we're just chugging away at it, but it's called That's a Tell. And be on the lookout because we'll be talking about that in the near future. And That's a Tell is taking all the experience I have gained over the many years, especially from my Vegas days, and putting those all into a collection and compendium so people can learn how to really, truly not only read people, but make sure that you get the right, accurate read almost every time. So with that, I want to say, I'm going to still keep going to Vegas. I hope that they get better. There's a bunch of stuff that you just got to work around. And it was, it's one of those, getting a little bit sad because they didn't quite meet up to what it used to be. However, it's still Vegas. And with that, I just want to thank Sandra, and for myself, John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. Thank you for joining us for the Raging Verbalist 193. Go out there, have great things, lots of fun. And more importantly, is if you're going to go to Vegas, you have been warned about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we'll see you on the next Raging Verbalist.